Happy Independence Day to the entire crypto fam. In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest technical analysis as Bitcoin analysts flag 32,500 launchpad zone for the Bitcoin price action. And breaking news just in, Spain's largest bank, Santander, says Bitcoin Lightning Network can scale to 1 million plus transactions per second versus only 20,000 for Visa. And quoting Max Keiser, the Raul Pal law in El Salvador protects consumers from poisonous scams, making unregistered ish coins illegal. Also in today's show, we'll be discussing Bitcoin futures premium hitting 18-month high is now the time to flip bullish. We'll also be discussing everything you need to know regarding Bitcoin ETFs in the United States, as well as Cameron Winklevoss slams DCG's Barry Silbert and says not even Scam Bankman-Fried was capable of such delusion. We'll also be discussing the Bitcoin price can soar to 140,000 next bull cycle, predicts crypto analysts, as well as Permable Max Keiser says El Salvador will be debt-free by 2030 and the Bitcoin price will hit 1 million. In fact, he says it's a mathematical certainty. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this plus so much more in today's show. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell to turn on daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, including holidays just like this. And welcome to everyone just joining us. Today is pod episode number 1332. I'm your host, JV, and today is Independence Day. So happy July 4th, 2023. Let's kick off today's show. Checking out the market, we can see Bitcoin correcting quite a bit after hitting a new 2023 high. We're currently trading at 30,700, down about 2% for the day. We also have Ether down 1.6%, trading just under $2,000, while BNB, XRP, and all the major cryptos are currently correcting and in the red. Checking out coinmarketcap.com, the current crypto market cap sitting just above $1.2 trillion with $34.5 billion in volume in the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance is sitting at 49.6%, with the Ether dominance at 19.3%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers of the past 24 hours, CVX leading the pack up 5%, trading at $4.12, followed by Unised Leo up 4%, trading just under $4, followed by Curved Out token up about 4%, trading just above 81 cents. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past week, still overall a sea of red, with just a few in the green, including Aave, Leo, and CRV. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, we're currently rated at 64 in greed, yesterday at 62, last week a 59, and last month a 52, which is neutral. And welcome, y'all. I want to say I also greatly appreciate the super chat contribution, so thank you very kindly. At the end of the show, we'll be doing our live Q&A, so make sure to say hello in the live chat. And also let me know if you're currently bullish on the King Crypto. Now let's check out some of the charts on what is happening with the price action. Bitcoin bulls fought for 31,000 on July 4th as the U.S. market closure offered the chance for volatility. And I love this Michael Saylor quote, volatility equals life force. Hence, Bitcoin has lots of volatility because the force is strong, if you feel me. Data from Cointelegraph Market Report and Trading View showed Bitcoin price attempting to cement overnight gains, topping out at 31,400, which is the new 2023 yearly high. And also, Trading Suite Decent Trader argued Bitcoin was looking bullish across virtually all the time frames on one of its proprietary trading tools, quoting Philip Swift here. Feels like the market is getting ready to rip higher. And he also, Calvin Apot went on to share that the forecast of rapid gains could only kick in once Bitcoin had passed 32.5, marking the new highs. As he shares here, good consolidation on Bitcoin here, swept some highs, but no acceleration. The actual acceleration will occur above 32.5. Until then, it is just a slow grind, and we're getting so close to 32.5, just FYI. So according to the analysts, that's the line in the sand to keep your eyes out on for. Others continued a narrative calling for lower levels to reappear in the second half of this year after the midterm top. Quoting Cointelegraph reporter here, the more time passes with Bitcoin holding above 25,000 on the macro level, the more I'm leaning towards the macro bottom being in, says Crypto Tony. I still believe we see a bigger drop later this year, but likely to be a part of a bigger accumulation zone. Now let's discuss small entities snapping up the Bitcoin supply shock in full effect, right? The latest on-chain figures from Glassnode Analytics revealed ongoing accumulation amongst the smaller entities of the Bitcoin investor spectrum. We refer to these cats as shrimp, defined as wallets containing less than 1 BTC, and currently increasing their holdings by over 33,000 BTC per month on a rolling basis. And according to Glassnode, the data stands out with only 130 out of 5,263 trading days recording a larger monthly position change. That brings the total coins held by the shrimp class to 1.33 million BTC. So there you have it. And massive shout out to everyone accumulating sats. Keep on stacking. And breaking news just in, Spain's largest bank, Santander, says Bitcoin Lightning Network can scale to 1 million plus transactions per second versus only 20,000 with Visa, the old school railways. Now, if you were to choose, what would you rather use, Visa as a pay rail or the Bitcoin Lightning Network? It's no question if you're to ask me. With that being shared, now let's discuss the latest with Bitcoin futures, which is looking very positive right now, hitting 18-month highs. Check this out. The Bitcoin futures premium has reached its highest level in 18 months on July 4th. Traders are now questioning whether the derivatives metrics indicate excessive excitement or return to the mean after a prolonged bear market. The Bitcoin price has been trading in a narrow 4% range since June 22nd, oscillating between 29.9 and 31.1 as measured by its daily closing prices. The lack of a clear trend might be uncomfortable to some, but that is a reflection of the opposing drivers currently in play. For instance, investor sentiment was negatively affected by the historic reversion of the U.S. Treasury yield curve, which reached its highest level on record, which you can see here in this chart. The closely monitored inverted spread between the 2-year and 10-year Treasury notes reached its highest level since 1981, standing just above 1%. The phenomenon known as yield curve inversion, where short-dated Treasury notes trade at higher yields than longer-dated notes, typically precedes economic recessions. Also, in addition to these macroeconomic distortions, crypto regulation has also been at the center of investors' attention as of late. Here are some of the recent examples. Kraken Exchange was required by the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California to provide details of users who engaged in transactions exceeding $20,000 within a calendar year. We also have Thailand's SEC banning crypto lending services, thus prohibiting crypto platforms from offering any form of return on deposited crypto by customers, as well as the Monetary Authority of Singapore announcing new requirements for crypto service providers to hold customer assets in a statutory trust by year's end. So investors are probably now asking, does Bitcoin have the strength to break above 31 resistance? Well, of course, one must take a potential economic recession and the increasing regulatory clampdown measures around the world into account first. Now for the Bitcoin future premiums reaching 18-month highs, which is pretty awesome. Bitcoin futures contracts in healthy markets should trade at 5 to 10% annualized premium, a situation known as contango, which is not unique for the crypto markets. The demand for leveraged Bitcoin longs had significantly increased over the past week as the futures contract premium jumped 6.4% on July 3rd from 3.2% the week prior. Besides reaching the highest level in 18 months, the metric has finally moved to the neutral to bullish area. Now to gauge market sentiment further, it's also helpful to look at the options markets at the 25 delta skew, and they can access whether the price stagnation has made investors less optimistic. It reveals when arbitrage desks and market makers change or charge higher prices for protection against upside or downside movements. And in short, if traders expect a drop of the Bitcoin price, the skew metric will rise above 7%, while periods of excitement typically have a negative 7% skew. Now, moderate optimism could be healthy for the Bitcoin market, typically 6.4% futures basis, and a negative 13% delta skew would be considered moderately bullish. However, considering analysts are estimating a 50% chance for BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF approval, these metrics might be seen as conservative, but a certain amount of skepticism is indeed healthy for buyers using derivative contracts and avoid the risks of cascading liquidations. Now, thus today, 6.3% futures premiums represents a healthy market as opposed to 10% or higher, indicating excessive optimism or euphoria. Moreover, traders should remain confident given that bulls have room to further leverage long positions without running excessive risks. So there you have it. And as we all know, we do have Futures ETFs approved, but for some reason no spot Bitcoin ETF, which we know is best for the investors. So now I want to dive deeper into everything you need to know regarding spot Bitcoin ETFs here in the United States. We know BlackRock put in their infamous application here more recently, within a couple of weeks ago, and the market has been pumping since, with many other major asset managers following in suit and doing the same. So let's break this down, then we'll dive into Cameron Winklevoss's rant against DCG's Barry Silbert, who is the founder of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, followed by a whopping 140,000 price prediction for this upcoming bull cycle, followed by the latest from Max Keiser and his $1 million Bitcoin price prediction, which he says is a mathematical certainty. Let's break this down. And again, welcome to y'all just joining us. Recent weeks seen a surge in interest from traditional finance for crypto-based ETFs after the SEC took issues with the initial filing. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, submitted a fresh app for Bitcoin ETF on July 3rd, which was just yesterday. A week earlier, Fidelity led the crop of investment firms and lodging apps with the SEC for Bitcoin-based ETFs. Meanwhile, HSBC has become the first bank to offer Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs to customers out there in Hong Kong. Now, in context of Bitcoin, it is often the seemingly positive news that is harmful over the long term, and vice versa. Short-term negative news often serves to strengthen the ongoing case for the king crypto. A good example of that is ladder of 2017's block size war, when the Bitcoin community split into big block camp that launched the Bitcoin Cash fork and the small block camp that implemented the segregated witness upgrade in Bitcoin. And while the result was chaotic for the short term, with many of Bitcoin critics seeking to dance on Bitcoin's grave, it proved to be one of the most important lessons on decentralized consensus and paved the way for the layered scaling via the Lightning Network that we enjoy today. Shout out to Lightning. And for example of good news turning negative, we don't have to go too far back into the past. Up until late 2022, FTX was the prime example of crypto going mainstream with the Super Bowl ads, right? Stadiums, naming rights, and glossy magazine features. It seemed like they had limitless money to just throw in advertising. But in the end, FTX proved to be a ticking time bomb that blew up in everybody's face and set back the industry's legitimacy by years. Quoting Tyler Winklevoss here on crypto Twitter, today marks 10 years since Tyler and I filed for the first spot Bitcoin ETF. The SEC government refusal to approve these products for a decade has been a complete and utter disaster for U.S. investors and demonstrates how the SEC is a failed regulator. Why? Protected investors from best performing asset of the last decade, pushed investors into toxic products like the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, GBTC, which trades at a massive discount and charges astronomical fees, pushed spot Bitcoin activity offshore to unlicensed and unregulated venues, and push investors into the arms of FTX, subjecting them to one of the largest financial frauds in modern history. Maybe the SEC will reflect on its dismal record, and instead of overstepping its statutory power and trying to act like the gatekeeper of economic life, it'll focus on fulfilling its mandate of investor protection, fostering fair and orderly markets, and facilitating capital formation. This would have led to a much better outcome for U.S. investors. In the meantime, best of luck to all those fighting the good fight to bring U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs to life. Onwards. Very powerful and bold words by the Winklevoss twins. I agree 100%. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Now, also, there are other dangers for the wider market with ETFs. There's a risk that paper Bitcoin, that's right, claims not backed by the actual Bitcoin, could distort the market and undermine Bitcoin's very monetary policy. Exchanges that have issued paper Bitcoin in the past, such as FTX, have been kept in check via withdrawal runs and eventual collapse, after which the fake Bitcoin claims were wiped out, along with the hapless exchanges. That's right, who wants fake Bitcoin? So don't give your real Bitcoin to the exchanges in the fake paper Bitcoin for return. Just saying, that likely wouldn't be the case with ETFs without the possibility of withdrawing the underlying asset. Paper Bitcoin can be printed at will. If Bitcoin ETFs become the dominant way of investing into Bitcoin, it could very well lead to millions of paper Bitcoin, flooding the market, suppressing the Bitcoin price action. So that's something to keep in mind. And with Bitcoin, holding it means owning it, not your Bitcoin. I mean, not your keys, not your crypto, right? In the context, Bitcoin ownership is very closely linked to control over the cryptographic keys associated with specific Bitcoin addresses. Now it might be true that someone can own a Bitcoin in a legal sense without having direct control over the keys, such as when owning an exchange account or holding an ETF share, but that is simply not a good idea in the Bitcoin world. So what I would like to point out right here with this story is the following, and hear me out here. Personally, I would prefer to self-custody my Bitcoin as an investor. I feel the ETFs are great for institutional adoption, but unless you're an institution like BlackRock or Fidelity, HSBC, and so on, why would you even want to invest into a Bitcoin ETF? What's the benefit? Do the benefits outweigh the risks? I say no. I think the risks outweigh the benefit. The safest way to store your crypto, and do your own research, but it is self-custody, right? Put it on your own wallet. I would prefer the Trezor. Earlier, I received a Super Chat contribution, and someone asked me, what is your preferred cold storage wallet? I'd say the Trezor. Other options out there, there's actually quite a few. So if you have a preferred wallet, let us know what that is in the comments below. And at the end of the show, I'll be reading all of these out loud. So just always remember, not your keys, not your cheese. And Bitcoin ETFs aren't for the ordinary investor, but for the massive institutions to help usher in mass adoption as the Bitcoin game theory continues in full effect. And now for the latest with the Winklevoss versus DCGs, Barry Silbert. This is very interesting, as Cameron made a very thought-provoking tweet just yesterday, and I'm actually going to start by reading some of this open letter. I'll be actually giving you some of the highlights, but here we go. In the July 4th open letter to Barry Silbert, FYI, brand new, Winklevoss alleged that DCG Enterprise engaged in fraudulent behavior via a culture of lies and deceit, coming at the expense of Gemini's 232,000 earn users. This is his open letter, and I'll include this story in the show notes below the video in the description for you to reference and check it out for yourself. But here are the highlights. Amongst the accusations in Winklevoss's strongly worded letter is that Silbert intentionally delayed resolution through abuse of the mediation process. The letter states the following: mediation has given DCG an indefinite forbearance on the $630 million it owes Genesis for free. And most disturbing, according to Winklevoss, has been Silbert's apparent claim of being the victim in the debacle. Quoting him here, it takes a special kind of person to owe $3.3 billion to hundreds of thousands of people and believe, or at least pretend to believe, you are some kind of victim, he added. Not even Sam Bankman-Fried was capable of such delusion. DCG's Genesis was the lender behind Gemini's Earn program, which promised returns as high as 8% to depositors. However, November 16th, 2022, Genesis announced it temporarily suspended withdrawals, citing unprecedented market turmoil. Then Genesis later filed for bankruptcy on January 19th of this year, with Gemini seeking to recover its share of the billions of dollars owed by Genesis to creditors ever since. However, after what Winklevoss described as multiple delays, he appears to have had enough. Here's again another quote. I write to inform you your games are over, Winklevoss said, explaining that professional fees have now ballooned to over $100 million at the expense of credits and earn users. Enough is enough. Winklevoss has given Silbert an ultimatum: accept his first, best, and final offer by 4 p.m. Eastern, July 6th, 2 more days, or face a lawsuit on July 7th. How do you think this will likely play out? The offer pitch calls on DCG to make a $275 million payment by July 21st and an additional $355 million before July 21st, 2025, and a final payment of $835 million by July 21st, 2028, which is 5 years from when the plan support agreement date was proposed by the Winklevoss. The total payment will come to $1.47 billion. That's no chump change, eh? Winklevoss wants the payments to be made in the form of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the United States dollar, with the funds sourced from Genesis Global Trading, potential payouts from FTX and Alameda Research's bankruptcy estates, in addition to Avalanche and Near tokens that it may have a claim to from Three Arrows Capital bankruptcy estate. Now, I will be keeping you posted with the latest from this. Let me know if you are in the corner of the Winklevoss twins or in the corner of Barry Silbert. I stand with the Winklevoss twins here. I think Barry should be held responsible, and he's taking no responsibility for any of this debt. He's just trying to ignore it and play the victim. That, my friend, is not cool. But let me know how you feel that will likely play out. Do you think Barry will continue to ignore it and get slapped with a lawsuit by the 7th? Let's discuss it. And now let's break down this $140,000 prediction coming from BitBoy's channel, and then we'll dive into the latest and updates from Max Keiser regarding, Bitcoin bonds, Volcano energy, and $1 million Bitcoin price action being a mathematical certainty. Then we'll dive into our live Q&A. And what are your thoughts regarding 140,000 for this cycle peak? Do let me know. Now, here we go. AJ's latest analysis for Bitcoin points to a potential climb of 140,000 per Bitcoin in the next bullish cycle. This prediction particularly ambitious in its scope following BlackRock's recent filing for a Bitcoin spot ETF here in the United States. This move sparked a chain reaction with several other large funds submitting their own filings, which we have been discussing. Additionally, AJ forecasted that Bitcoin is set to consolidate its share of the crypto market in the coming years. This notion stems from two key factors: Bitcoin's distinct position as a non-security digital asset, having the green light from the CFTC as well as the SEC. And according to AJ, Bitcoin's dominance in the crypto market will not wane in the foreseeable future. And we have people like Michael Saylor predicting the Bitcoin dominance is likely to hit a high of 80%. Considering we're roughly at 50%, that's another 30% climb, which would be pretty significant. Now, currently, 92% of Bitcoin's maximum supply is in circulation, contrasting sharply with several crypto projects where only approximately 50% of their max supply, ranging from 500 million to 1 trillion tokens in circulation. Now, I love Bitcoin. We know it's decentralized and there can only ever be 21 million coins in existing. Now, wrapping up his speculation, the BitBoy crypto analyst summarized that Bitcoin's value could increase to somewhere between 100,000 and 140,000 in the next bull market. Moreover, he projected the Bitcoin's market cap would reach at least 2 trillion, provided his bullish thesis holds true. Now, with the Bitcoin market cap currently hovering at around 600 billion, that is roughly 4x from where we're currently at. Now, this prediction is just one of the many Bitcoin predictions reported in the past weeks. As I shared in a previous episode, Willy Woo is suggesting a target of $310,000 if these large asset managers were to allocate just 5% of their assets into the King crypto. And I also covered in yesterday's episode, Credible Crypto predicting a new all-time high this year, potentially by October rising to $150,000. So you guys let me know your thoughts surrounding these bullish price predictions. And now for the latest from the one and only high priest of Bitcoin, Max Keiser. Massive shout out to Max and Stacy Herbert. Let's dive into their latest predictions. And I'm going to start by these tweets. Just recently, Max Keiser tweeted, Bitcoin is better than gold. Bitcoin is going to $2 million while gold stays stuck at under 2,000. And lo and behold, hasn't gold been stuck for the past decade while Bitcoin continues climbing, being the most appreciative asset in human history? It's just some food for thought. Max also recently tweeted that Bitcoin reflects the beauty of Gary Gensler, the chairman of the SEC, attacking everything except untouchable Bitcoin and the unimportance of having a US-based Bitcoin spot ETF. He also says that 220,000 is in play, and he's boldly predicted that for this month of July. If you feel there is a possibility of Bitcoin hitting 220,000 this month, let me know your thoughts in the comments right down below, and let's continue with his recent bullish predictions. Now, Max Keiser, and now chairman of Volcano Energy, which is a sustainable mining company in El Salvador, believes that Bitcoin and mining adoption will help improve the Salvadoran economy. Keiser emphasized setting up Bitcoin mining operations like Volcano Energy, which will invest $1 billion into the country and produce green power from solar and wind sources for mining operations, will allow the nation to pay its debts fully. He is quoted sharing the following in a recent interview: "This country will be debt-free by 2030 and with Bitcoin and geothermal Bitcoin mining." And furthermore, he profiled El Salvador as a worldwide center for Bitcoin mining, detailing that this development allows jobs to be generated in the area, raises the gross domestic product, as well as benefits the country. Max, who moved to El Salvador in 2022 and now serves as an advisor to President Bukele, is sure that Bitcoin will become a significant reserve asset. El Salvador has a set of advantages compared to other countries. Keiser states that due to its crypto regulatory framework and green energy resources, El Salvador will develop a Bitcoin-derived industry. Here's what he declared: "Countries around the world are beginning to accumulate and mine Bitcoin as the world of fiat money and central banks disintegrate. With the benefit of President Nayib Bukele's new laws, such as making Bitcoin legal tender, we have the ability to lead the world and arguably become the richest country in the world. Let's go El Salvador." Now, Keiser has been a very vocal proponent of Bitcoin as a currency, declaring that all fiat currencies are going to zero compared to Bitcoin. And the logic behind that is because fiat has no bottom, Bitcoin has no top, which he commonly says. Keiser explained that Volcano Energy's market cap will grow to $50 billion, exceeding El Salvador's GDP, which is estimated to be $29 billion. And this growth will be powered by the rise of the price of Bitcoin to $1 million per coin. And he says he qualified this particular prediction as a mathematical certainty. So there you have it, coming directly from Max Keiser. What are your thoughts on his $1 million price price prediction by 2030 and it becoming a mathematical certainty? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments right down below. Now let's dive into our 4th of July celebration extravaganza live Q&A session. What's good, crypto fam? Good to see y'all in the building. Inspector 8 fam, Jeff S, Greg G.O, Steve Kingston, Digital Dankness, Crypto McCrypto. What a cool username. What's good? Barry, welcome. Jeff S, welcome. Maximus, welcome. Raul 2.0, welcome. Tim's Crypto, welcome. Michael Volkman, welcome. Steve Kingston, welcome. John Dongugle, welcome. Breton Maybe, welcome. Baz Dragon, welcome. Good to see y'all. I'm going to start at the very top and start rattling some of these comments out loud. What's good, Glenn Cooper? Good to see you, fam. Aloha Barry, says Steve. Yes, that's right. I appreciate the support of the channel. The greatest compliment you can do if you're getting value out of the daily pod, smash the like button and share this with someone else. Maybe retweet the show on Twitter. I'm very active over there. And of course, commenting helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. So I always greatly appreciate that. Shout out to Michael Volkman. It is good to see you. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day to the entire crypto fam. Winklevoss twins will win, but it could be bad for the market in the short term. At least it is interesting, says Steve Kingston. Yeah, I just think it is sad. No one taking liability or responsibility and just allowing the investors ultimately to get wrecked. It is sad that even the SEC is virtually doing nothing about it. There were rumors that Grayscale Bitcoin Trust was going to try to convert their GBTC product into a spot Bitcoin ETF to help pay back these investors. But unfortunately, the SEC is not allowing that, it seems, anytime soon. But eventually, a spot Bitcoin ETF will likely be approved. The million-dollar question: when? I think it's likely to happen sometime in 2024, just before the Bitcoin halving, which is roughly 9 to 10 months out from today's date. But you guys let me know what you think. If Barry coughs up the dough, all goes well, says Steve. Now the question becomes, does Barry have the dough, right? Or is it tied up in other things? Who knows really what's going on? Enger John says, I am here. Appreciate you tuning in. John S. Kaki, welcome. I am back. She prepared bagels and lox. Not exactly 4th of July fare, but very good. Glad to hear that, Volkman, that she's taking care of you, fam. Word up, much love and much respect. You got to do what you got to do. Do you have an internet connection at sea? Someone asked, sailing with twins. I know you back on the water there. Happy 4th of July to Coin Father. I will catch the show. I'm off to a barbecue with friends around the fire pit. Do enjoy your day and glad to hear you're not in the hospital on this special, 4th of July. Much love and much respect. Keep your prayers out there for Coin Father fam. We greatly appreciate that. Hope all is well in the United States and everyone's having a happy 4th. That's what's up. JV, I have figured it out while I'm using the laptop. I appreciate those retweets. They do mean a lot to me, so thank you very, very much. When I retweet from the phone, I have a different handle, just letting you know what I try to do every day. Much love and much respect, fam. Century Next Door says Bitcoin is about to dump to 29,000. Do you consider 29,000 a dump? Hey, it is what it is. I mean, Bitcoin's looking pretty bullish. We just hit a new yearly high. I think we touched roughly 31,400 on some of the exchanges before correcting to where we're currently at, just above 30,700. I say, hey, anything above 30,000, I am pretty optimistic about, considering there's nothing but thin air between 32.5 and 40,000. So if we can break clearly and cleanly above 32.5, I think the next realistic target will be 40,000, which I would love to see sooner than later, but we shall see how this is likely to play out. Let's freaking go and celebrate our Independence Day from Fake Fiat. 100% Jim Wood. Much love and much respect. I appreciate the support here, tuning in. I always convert trash to Bitcoin when I have extra trash. That's what's up. You got to do what you got to do. And that's right. Don't forget to BTFD, buy that freaking dip and keep stacking them sats. Yeah, this is pod number 1332. Let's get it. Japan in the house, wishing my fellow Americans a happy 4th of July and to keep stacking them sats, says Zap Ingram. Massive shout out to everyone out there in Japan. I appreciate your support all the way on the other side of the world. That is what's up. Good stuff. And Al Festing sent me a super chat contribution of $10. I appreciate that. And wrote, happy 4th of July. Do you recommend Ledger? What about NanoX and Ledger changes? Which hardware wallet do you recommend? And as I touched upon briefly earlier, if I had to choose, I'd go with the Trezor because they've been around the longest. They're trusted, they're open source, and it's a great wallet I have personal experience using. There's a lot of other solutions out there now, probably another dozen very viable, good wallets, which people do recommend. So I would would love to see what everyone else's thoughts are there. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Ledger no more. I once recommended them, but once their CEO was questioned and they asked him, if the government requested private keys from your customers, what would you do? They said we would have to comply with the government, and that is a little sketchy. So I would never give private keys to any third party, including the Ledger company. If you wanted to do, I think it's called sharding with your private keys, where they take maybe your 24-word key phrase, they divide those keywords up in 3, and they give them to 3 independent parties, knowing that if the government wanted that information, they just would hand it over. It's kind of alarming and scary to me because I don't trust the government. So if you don't trust the government, you probably shouldn't trust the Ledger so much either. So for that reason, I'm no longer recommending the Ledger, even though it's one of the most popular hardware wallets out there. It's available at Best Buy, et cetera, et cetera. Just be careful out there. You can't be too careful with your crypto, and only keep on the exchanges what you're willing to lose, because as I mentioned earlier, if it's not your keys, you don't really own that crypto. So if there was unlawful regulation against the exchange and it got shut down, like we're kind of witnessing right now in real time with Coinbase and Binance US, then you may not have access to your crypto for a very long time, or maybe possibly never ever again. This happened to a lot of people with FTX, which was the second largest crypto exchange in the world, next to Binance. And guess what? They got attacked. The government obviously ultimately shut down their platform, and investors are still waiting for their crypto. Whereas if you would have had your crypto in a private wallet, it doesn't matter what happens to the exchanges. It's completely irrelevant. So my suggestion personally, my 2 Satoshis, use the crypto exchanges when you have to use them. If you're making a trade, buying crypto, selling crypto, or trading, you need to go to the exchange to do so. However, as soon as you execute the trade, bada boom, bada bing, move it off the exchange. There's no benefit to keeping it on the exchange, but meanwhile, there's a slew of potential risks associated with keeping your crypto on the exchanges, hackers, and things of this nature. I know someone who just recently got hacked for $60,000, right? And that's from keeping crypto on an exchange. So again, protect your keys, not your keys, not your cheese. Hope that resonates with y'all. I just got another super chat contribution coming from Nate Scandival, who says long Bitcoin and short Gary Gensler. If you agree with Nate, put a 1 in the chat right down below if you're long on Bitcoin and short on Gary Gensler. I love that, by the way. Appreciate that. Great comment. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Blazing green with coffee in the morning. Catching with the crypto update says we'll stop Sun versus the Guru. Well, appreciate that. Paul P says, good evening, fam. Good evening. Appreciate you tuning in. I believe you're out there in the UK. Happy 4th of July to my US brethren, says Maximus. Greatly appreciate that, Bitcoin Maximus. Much love. Morning to all. Good morning from Oz. Shout out to everyone out there down under. Much love and much respect. Steve Kingston put a 1 in the chat. That's what's up. Baz Dragon, hello fam. From Baz in the UK, happy Independence Day. That's what's up. Big fat one before y'all even say hi. Do enjoy that big fat one. 1 from Selling with Twins. That's what's up. Always bullish on Bitcoin. Says we'll stop, son. Robert O'Connor says Canada, sea of red. Like my eyes. Shout out to Canada and all the great people out there. What's good? Go Shrimps, says Baz Dragon. Those are hodlers of Bitcoin of less than 1 whole coin. Lightning Network all the way. You already know the best layer 2 scaling solution. We shrimps are catching the current early. All shrimp food on the long term. That's what's up. Squid eats shrimp. Lobster. Sailing with Twins. Now that's freaking funny. Yes, Steve, the more the shrimps have, the less the governments and whales can manipulate the market. Facts. So keep stacking them sats. Happy 4th of July. Coming from Rodolfo Perez. Welcome, fam. Appreciate you tuning in. Orthodox Boomer. Grandma. Word up. We got grandma's in the building. Massive shout out, says hodlin. That's what's up. Just like Gump, I'm shrimping. Word up, Zap. This just sounds wrong, but I get what you mean, Zap. The best explanation for anything economic is just math, baby. That's right. Numbers don't lie. Everyone else does. You know what I mean? So that's why we trust mathematics. Trust nobody, verify everything. That's the motto of the blockchain and Bitcoin. The best explanation, it just is what it is. It's just math, baby. J Bull says sell. See y'all at 15,000. Oh, hell nah. Do not sell your Bitcoin at these prices. I mean, obviously you can do anything you want. But if you're a betting man and you honestly believe that Bitcoin is going to drop to 15,000, then why wouldn't you sell your Bitcoin and buy it up? But here's the risk with that. What if you're wrong? and you don't get to buy it back. And now you have a smaller Bitcoin position because you got too greedy. You know what I mean? I personally feel that the bottom is in. We hit that bottom, I believe, in the fourth quarter of last year when we touched the low of around $15,700. But what are your guys' thoughts? Let me know. If I was to put a probability on returning to 15,000, I'd say less than a 5% chance, but that's just me. You know what I mean? So hodl strong and keep stacking them stats. Shrimp gumbo, boiled shrimp, fried shrimp. It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Hilarious. What the? J-Bull, really? You think so? I mean, people questioning that 15,000 target. I would guess that you don't hold a lot of Bitcoin and you're praying you're able to hold a lot of Bitcoin. So you're praying the market crashes. But hey, if the market did crash, it's a great opportunity to stack more sats. Why wouldn't you? But I'm just not so optimistic that we are going to drop to be able to accumulate that much more, but we shall see. I mean, things are currently bullish, especially with all the Bitcoin ETF apps out there, and with the Bitcoin halving only being 9 months away. How can I not be anything but bullish, if you feel me? TradeFi is going to front run the heck out of the halving, says 2 for 1. Welcome 2 for 1. Stir fried shrimp, coconut shrimp, butterfly shrimp, shrimp. Most definitely the rally is over, says Jable. For reals? SEC is bad-ish coins, but good for the Bitcoin. 100%, because it's the only coin that has, basically, that's untouchable. It controls the chessboard, as Max says, including Gary Gensler. Trust me, if Gary Gensler and the corrupt mofos over at the SEC could do anything to stop Bitcoin, they would have done so a long time ago. They know it's untouchable, fam. But we can't say the same for any other cryptocurrency out there. It just is what it is. And isn't it alarming, as I shared a couple of days back, breaking news of Vitalik Buterin, co-founder of Ethereum, saying he does not trust in staking much of his Ethereum. He's staking a very small share because he don't trust in the centralization of it. That's because Bitcoin is the only truly decentralized cryptocurrency. It's the only one with a finite limited supply that is perfect money. It's borderless. It's incorruptible. It's virtually perfect money. You can't make it better. And that's why it is what it is. That's why one Bitcoin's trading at roughly $30,700 while the US dollar continues to get beat up when it comes to purchasing power. And I think the purchasing power of the dollar will continue to decline as the purchasing power of Bitcoin continues to rise, especially with this Bitcoin dominance and many of the other alts. People are going to be putting their crypto back into Bitcoin to ride this wave. So why wouldn't you want to ride the wave, if you feel what I'm saying? Tangent was popping. Ledger, says Inspector 8 Fam, recommended. Robert O'Connor says Ledger. Jeff says Ledger. Maximus says Trezor. Yeah, get one that you trust. That's the biggest thing is trusting the wallet that you're using, because if there is no trust, then what's the purpose of self-custody in the first place? So that's why it's important to still do your own research. I thought with a spot ETF, the provider has to own the Bitcoin to back it. So wouldn't there be a limit to the spot ETF positions they can offer? Who knows? Honestly, who knows? But it's a great question, Boz Dragon. It is alarming for someone to offer Bitcoin and not have the underlying asset like in their reserves. How can you do that? That sounds like a derivative. That sounds like fiat money. What would be the difference? You know what I mean? I'd rather have the asset in my cold wallet versus a note saying that some company is holding this Bitcoin, because they may not. Maybe they did something unlawful with it, just like Scam Bankman-Fried scammed all the investors. You know what I mean? Elipal is air gap. Good to note. Coldcard is another great storage wallet, a little more advanced than your typical wallet, but that's another great one. A lot of recommendations we hear from. Steve says the Winklevoss twins will win, but Barry might surprise us with the puking up the cash. Too bad to see this going on right now. It is very sad. John Don Google says finally caught you live all the way from Ireland. Keep up the good work. Massive shout out to all the cats out there in Ireland. I appreciate you supporting the channel. Much love and much respect. Barry says no ETFs. Not good for the normal people. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the ETFs are good for institutions and help ushering in Bitcoin adoption, but we don't need that as investors. That's why Max says Bitcoin is going to 220,000 with or without a spot Bitcoin ETF. You know what I mean? That just means it's going to be easier and more lawful for the big organizations to move their vast amounts of capital into Bitcoin. Because of regulations, some of them are unable to do so. So they need the spot Bitcoin ETF. As an investor, it's irrelevant. You know what I mean? Because we're not investing into the ETF. I want to hold my own Bitcoin. I would assume you want to do the same. Steve Kingston put a 1 out there. Hey fam, here but late. Shout out to Digital Dankness. Tim's Crypto says 140,000 is bearish. I agree. My cycle peak high for this cycle, I'm guesstimating somewhere between 2. and 300,000, 300 being towards the top and 200 being towards the bottom, which is more optimistic than 140 naturally. Raw 2.0 put 96,000 is the next top. That'd be interesting. We're all anticipating 100,000. We go up to 96 and then crash back down. We'd be like, no, what about JV's Puerto Rico 100K party? Hey, if we get that close to 100K, I think we're going to have the party regardless. So please don't sweat that, fam. Bitcoin will hit 157,500 in 2025 based on the yearly chart, says Jeff S. Inspector 8 fam, if ETF approval, there won't be a bear market. Word up. And again, they can only suppress the ETF here in the United States for so long, in my humble opinion. BlackRock is bad for Bitcoin. I think BlackRock is just bad for the world, personally, right? Corrupt as all mofos are, and being the largest asset manager in the world. This will be the first time Bitcoin will be traded on the stock market. First time in 13 years, says Inspector. Word up. 10x from the bottom is $140,000 to $160,000, says Crypto. Mick Crypto. Also like to point out that just a very humble, respectable 2x from last year's cycle peak, which was we hit 69,000 back in 2021. So I should say 2 years back. So if we only 2x from the previous cycle peak, that's still $138,000 Bitcoin price. And again, that is extremely conservative if you're to ask me. But let me know what you guys think. You feel me? What's good? If it hits 220 this month, I will leave my wife and retire, says Greggio. Well, there you have it. You heard it first. Bitcoin doesn't need America. BlackRock, America needs Bitcoin. Facts. Cheers. Word. Dumb new question. How many words should be in a key? EllaPal does 12, but I keep hearing about 20-word keys. It all depends upon the wallet. There have been online wallets I've experimented with and tested, and they only give you 12 words. I think Ledger and Trezor give you 24 words, and you can add an additional word for extra security, like a 25th word. I've never heard of 10, but hey, every wallet may be a little different. Naturally, the more words it is, the more secure. But on the downside, the more difficult that would be to remember. I'd say it's way easier to remember a 12-word key phrase or 10 words versus 24. So take it for what it's worth. I'd rather use a 24 if I had the option. If it said, do you want to use a 12 or 24? I just feel a little more secure with a 24. But hey, I know it's virtually still impossible to hack any of these wallets. You know, cryptography is very strong and very advanced, but what are your guys' thoughts? Steve says 24 words, Breton. Yeah, so if you have the choice, I would choose more, but if it's not giving you that option, then I guess it just is what it is. Do you see Bitcoin spot ETFs will pump altcoins as well, or just purely Bitcoin? I think a rising tide rises all ships, personally. If the Bitcoin market cap soars hypothetically to 2 trillion, naturally, the market cap of Ethereum and XRP and Litecoin and all the other coins are going to rise. To me, that's a given, but I think the Bitcoin dominance will eat away at the majority of the alts, especially the scam coins and projects that don't really stand the chance, or projects that may be deemed unregistered securities by the SEC, but we shall soon see. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Tony Jeffries in the building. Appreciate you tuning in, fam. All good being late. You got to do what you got to do. Brian Burgeon put a 1 in the chat. Appreciate that. The sturgeon have been coming up on Kennebec River for breeding. Been watching the leap out. Word up. Whatever Gensler and the SEC says today won't matter if they lose all of these lawsuits. Get in on those Bitcoin lifeboats, fam. Well said, Nate. I appreciate you tuning in and sharing your insights. It's 4:30 here in South Carolina. Word up, Dankness. Appreciate the support, fam. Ghost shrimp are great bait when fishing for sturgeon and striped bass. Word up to all my fishermen out there. Smoke a fatty for me too. Green thumbs out there, says J-Dub the Laker. Shout out to J-Dub. What's good? Cold Card, another recommended wallet. Bitcoin only. Yes, that is true. Keystone includes alts. Ledger includes alts. Personally, stick to air gap wallets. And for those of you not familiar with that technology, air gap is pretty cool because it means that ultimately you could transfer crypto without ever plugging it into the internet, which is another big advantage, just making it that much more secure. For those of you who are not in the know, at the end of the day, the alts bleed into Bitcoin 100%, especially during the 4-year halving cycle, which we're fast approaching here, coming up. New dumb question, how many words should be in the key? Yeah, I mean, that's not a dumb question. No such thing as a dumb question, especially if you're new, because if you don't know, you don't know. But like I mentioned, if you have the opportunity to choose between 10 or 12 and 24, the more words, the more secure, and 24-word key phrase, probably the way to go. BlackRock can try whatever they want, Bitcoin Honey Badger does not give a what? Facts. It is what it is. Some keys don't have words. They have numbers. What? Are you serious? I'd never heard of that. I'd feel a little skeptical there. It's like, here's your 24-word key phrase, 2, 1, 5, 9, 12. I'd be like, you serious? I feel like something could hack that. You know what I mean? I'm a little skeptical there. Agree, JV Rocks. Appreciate that, Steve. Go Bitcoin, says Eric. Word up, Eric. Appreciate you tuning in, fam. Much love, much respect. What are your guys' plans here on 4th of July? Doing anything special? Let me know in the comments as we wrap up here. And again, appreciate all the support. If you're new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button, drop a comment. It helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. And yeah, make sure you got all notifications turned on as I go live each and every day at different times. And here's the schedule for tomorrow and for the rest of this week, just so that you're in the know. Tomorrow, July 5th, I will be going live at the same time as today at 4 p.m. Eastern. Then on the 6th, I got plans in which I cannot do a show, so it will be my first day off in several months on July 6th, and then we will return July 7th at 4 p.m. for the next show. So I look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow. MK Mistaken says Trezor also offers Bitcoin firmware as an option. Word up. Combination of words and numbers, says Crypto McCrypto. Word up. Jeff says 420. Happy 420. Tony Jeffrey says the Cold Wallet has 5 numbers per phrase and 12 numbers. Good to note. Appreciate the clarification. It is what it is. And again, I appreciate y'all tuning in on a holiday such as today, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. Now for a recap of what I covered with you here in today's episode, we discussed the latest technical analysis as Bitcoin analysts flagged 32,500 launchpad zone for the Bitcoin price action. We also discussed breaking news. Spain's largest bank, Santander, says Bitcoin Lightning Network can scale to 1 million plus transactions per second versus Visa's only 20,000 transactions per second. We also discussed positive news with Bitcoin futures premium hitting an 18-month high and flipping bullish. We also discussed everything you need to know surrounding Bitcoin spot ETFs in the United States, as well as the latest of the Winklevoss twins slamming DCGs, Barry Silbert saying not even Scam Bankman-Fried was capable of such delusion. We also discussed the 140,000 price target as per BitBoy's channel, as well as the latest from the Bitcoin high priest, Max Keiser, who says Bitcoin is heading to $1 million, as well as El Salvador will be debt-free by 2030. And he also says that price prediction is a mathematical certainty. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the